After 324 years, the effect of the philosophies that started in the 1700s has been obvious on the lives and history of mankind. Nudity and exposing clothes that cheapen women, pornography on TV and on our streets, alcoholism and drug addiction, rampant divorce, expanding LGBTQ plus acceptance and indoctrination, endless wars and revolutions, etc. The lives of millions of youths and homes that have been destroyed as a result of these influences on magazines, TV, phones and internet cannot be described. It happened just as described by former Satanist Roger Morneau. The shift from the old and established traditions of old since the 1700s has greatly affected the relationship between the sexes. The reasonings and arguments advanced during the Age of Enlightenment, or Age of Reason, sought to free man from the shackles of societal norms, traditions, etiquettes and mores or morals. These teachings, which found their way into music and movies, started bearing fruit immediately, but became worse after the Second World War. Many people became atheists and denied the existence of God, and hence modesty was thrown to the dogs while nudity took over. As these barriers were broken down, the roles of the sexes and the issue of gender began to surface and challenge the established order. Divorces skyrocketed, single parents multiplied, and many people either stayed single or childless, something that was hitherto uncommon. The world has metamorphosed from women's rights movement in the 1900s to the LGBTQ plus movement, where the definition of women is now even in question. The freedom to think and act as you want not only freed women from men's authority but led to a challenge of womanhood, with transgenders now bringing confusion to female bathrooms and women's sports. Millions of lives were destroyed by the hippie and rock and roll movements, lives that can never be replaced. Millions more are being destroyed by the current LGBTQ plus movement, increasing divorce rates and a godless and hopeless life. Through the television, like advertisements and movies, nude women and exposing clothes became popularized. Coupled with the women's rights movement, these scenes moved many women away from modesty into nudity, exposing themselves and wearing dresses that advanced adultery and fornication. Many youths were destroyed through these influences. Roger Morneau, a former Satanist, spoke of a great general council meeting held by Satan in the early 1700s to prepare for the great industrial revolution and the Age of Enlightenment. Satan planned to make the world believe that he and his demons do not exist, to take total control of people's minds through hypnotism and mesmerism, like television, virtual reality and other mind-controlling media, and to de-Christianize the Western world by making them doubt the credibility of the Bible. He would select men such as Charles Darwin, Thomas Henry Huxley and Franz Mesmer to introduce evolution and spiritualism or hypnotism, which is contact with spirits, into the world and remove the Bible and faith in God from the world. Looking back at the history of the world and current occurrences since 1700, it is obvious that Roger Morneau was right. The roles of men and women in marriage are directly and indirectly stated in the Bible in Genesis, Proverbs, Timothy, Matthew, Luke, etc. It is also corroborated by history and tradition, as in all cultures. Women kept the home and men worked to support the home financially as breadwinners. However, these began to change after the Second World War, when most men were drafted into the military and women were called to work in factories to replace or fill up the vacancies left by the men sent to the war front. Indeed, women were not even voting or allowed to own property until the Second World War. In some countries, for example, Ghana, women could not even open a bank account without their husbands until the PNDC era in Ghana. The hippie and rock and roll movements destroyed the lives of many young people. It led them to alcohol, drug abuse, premarital sex, fornication and adultery, abortion and divorce. Millions of these people died from the effect of these immoral and perverse behaviors. Few were able to retrace their steps backwards. When women began working in place of their men, they became used to money and did not want to return home to be housewives as it used to be. This led to the women's rights movements and also led to the change in women's clothes as we see today, with women wearing men's clothes, etc. This shift in culture and traditions affected many homes. Divorce rates also began to spike afterwards. The argument was then made that if women are no more serving as housewives but are also working to support the family financially, which should have been the responsibility of men, then it is equally right for the men to also assist the women in their home duties. To be honest, this argument is right. You may ask why? Because as she is now using the time she should use to keep the home to work for income, then she equally needs support in her home duties. However, there are challenges to these arguments. As the women use their house time to work, they feel entitled to the money and call it their money. Hence, they do not want to part with that money to assist the house. They say it is their money, and so the man should still take care of all finances in the house while they keep their money and help when necessary. This creates trouble for many homes. If the woman's money earned from her housekeeping time is hers, then can she equally ask the man to also help her at home? Unless couples agree to work together as a team, they shall have these role challenges. There is no one-size-fits-all. Every couple must know how to agree to live together as a team and how to help each other in their home as well as financially. Now let's look at the roles of wives and husbands from the biblical perspective. The freedom promised by the philosophies of the 17 and 1800s has led us to the present-day LGBTQ+ movement. People think they are being free by doing anything they want to do, but they are rather destroying themselves. Many young people are given drugs that destroy their fertility and make them transgenders, while others drink away their brains with alcohol, color themselves with tattoos, pierce their bodies with metals, destroy their personalities with drugs, or pollute their bodies with fornication and adultery. The Bible sets down these principles for couples. 1. The man is the head of the house, just as Christ is the head of the church. Ephesians 5. 2. The man must love the woman as Christ loved the church and sacrificed himself for her. 3. The man's body belongs to the woman. 4. The woman's body belongs to the man. 5. The woman is to humble herself to her husband and reverence him as Sarah did to Abraham. 1 Peter 6. In God's eyes, the man and woman are one and not two, so there's no woman and man but one person. Based on these principles, we can make the following deductions and apply it to the discussion above on marital roles. A. If the man is the manager and head of the house and the couples are one but not two, then any money that comes into the house must be managed by him irrespective of who earns the money, unless he so designates that power to his assistant, the wife, to take that role. Based on this, if the woman is richer than the man, he is still the head and must be accorded that respect as the manager of the house and all its finances. I will address the negative side of this later. Satan used these philosophers, as Roger Morneau also confirmed, to destroy the marriage institution, introduce and popularize the LGBTQ+ practices, increase divorce rates, make nude and exposing clothes fashionable among women, alcoholism, and so on. Satan also used the media to remove the societal abhorrence to alcohol, tobacco, cigarettes, and drugs. Through these influences on TV and magazines, Satan has destroyed millions of lives and broken up many families. As a manager, he can assign and reassign roles in the house. These include deciding on who does what in the house. However, he must remember that his wife is his body and so must not abuse her but must love her. Therefore, any role assigned to her must be done in love, but not in selfishness, hatred, mischief, or wickedness. Being the manager doesn't mean he should be autocratic. He must have meetings with the wife and, where necessary, with the kids to make laws, policies, rules, and so forth to guide and organize the house. This includes who does the cleaning, washing, cooking, and more, so that there is unity, peace, and love at home. If the woman's body is the man's and the man's body is the woman's, then every money owned by anyone belongs to everyone. However, because the man is the manager, he manages and appropriates the funds. Note, however, that this is the ideal case, and we live in a sinful and non-ideal world where people are desperately wicked and unpredictable. Therefore, it may be difficult to implement this fully. As a result, if you are a woman, you must know whom you are marrying. If you are a man, also know whom you are marrying. These are the reasons why character and not beauty must determine your choice of a partner. Ask yourself, can I trust my life, health and money in the hands of my potential partner? Is he or she honest, sincere, caring, merciful, wise, knowledgeable, prudent, thrifty and visionary? The only hope for all marriages and young people is to reject the popular culture of the day and return to the Bible standard. Why? Because we have seen the effect of these philosophies over more than 300 years, and it has led humanity into gross immorality and self-destruction. If you cannot trust your partner to be one with you in all aspects of life, if you cannot entrust your body, health, money and life into his or her hands, then think twice before you move forward.
Unless we return to the Bible standard, the current confusion of the world, which is fueled by the philosophies of militant atheists and quixotic philosophers, shall continually destroy many homes and lives.